Welcome to Season 2, Episode 28 of City Geek Lab, your resource for everything geek. We'll talk movies, TV, comic books, video games, anything geek. I'm your host, Alan. Coming up on this week's show, it is our Long Beach Comic Con episode. If you're like me, you may be frustrated a little bit with San Diego Comic Con. Consider the limited amount of badges available for the regular person, the giant crowds, the long lines at Hall H, almost making it impossible for you to go in and see any session that you really want to see. And it's becoming more convention and less comics. Well, there is an alternative San Diego Comic Con in Southern California, and that is the Long Beach Comic Con and the Long Beach Expo. I mentioned that there's two. It happens twice a year at the Long Beach Convention Center. We've been covering it for the last 2 years. And the next one that's coming up is the Long Beach Comic Con. I'm not sure if they're going to add the horror aspect of it as they normally do, but it is coming up on September 27th and 28th. And then following spring in 2015, it'll be the Long Beach Comic Expo. So we'll just call it one thing. We'll call it the Long Beach Comic Con, and we'll ask the question, why is it better? Well, first of all, it's a great location. Long Beach Convention Center is easy access, especially on weekends. You just go down to downtown Long Beach, you're right near the aquarium, you're right on the harbor there, nice view of the coast of Shoreline Village, and it's a nice clean environment, very large, and Comic-Con tends to take up a really good space there as well. Also, there are great crowds to go along with Comic-Con. First of all, there's enough people showing up year after year, con after con, that makes it worth the big companies to come out and send representatives and really be there for the average geek like you and me. And then also, it's not as big, it's not so big like San Diego to where it could still handle a lot more people. And all you have to do is come out and take part, and you can meet fellow geeks, fellow comic book fans, fellow movie fans. Everyone is there, and it's just a great time. I have a friend in San Diego that invariably I meet him every year. The exhibit hall, it's amazing. The big guys aren't there yet. DC and Marvel, they're not really there yet, but a lot of the independent comic book companies are there, such as Aspen Comics and a few of the other ones, and Artist Alley. Southern California has a wealth of talent when it comes to comic book creators, writers, artists, and they're all there trying to show their wares, trying to get discovered, and it's a great place to be. And then finally, another reason to be at Long Beach Comic Con versus San Diego Comic Con, it's the cosplay. Everyone's dressed up. Not everybody, but most people. I would say well over half the people are there. They've worked hard. They've gotten their costumes on, and this past expo that we went to, there was a whole section just for cosplay where some of the top people are there to share their talents, give kind of hints as to how they create their costumes, and even give an opportunity to help you develop yours as well. So why head off to Comic-Con when it's just hot, too many people, there's just not enough access for you to have, and it's just way too big. You don't have to sleep overnight. You can just show up a couple minutes before opening time and get to everything you need to go. Alright, so we're continuing on talking about Long Beach Comic Con, the amazing things you can do, the amazing things you can see, and the amazing people that you can meet. And I had a chance to meet some amazing people. The first is the producer of Cred, which is a video series, a comedy geek video series put on. I talked to associate producer Steve Simon, and he gave me a chance to kind of brag about his series. And here is that interview. Hi, I'm with Steve Simon, one of the producers of Geek Cred. Is that your web series?
Geek Cred. So you can find it on geekcredseries.com. Yeah.
What's the basic story of it?
It's a great story. It's a sitcom based about employees in a comic book shop. So it's all your things. It's kind of like The Office or Big Bang Theory, but all based in a comic shop in a comic world. And we're show going to be airing on June 18th on YouTube right now. But we've got 5 episodes in the can. And it's created by geeks, for geeks, by geeks, for geeks is our whole motto.
And you said you're premiering on June 18th.
June 18th on YouTube. It's Geek Cred, get some, hashtag get some.
How you doing?
And
what are some of the basic stories you might be telling?
Wednesday Comic Day, that, or Free Comic Day, or we've got the very collectible that gets lost and no one's leaving the shop until it's found. So it's it's just funny stuff that happens in a comic book shop.
And what inspired you to do this?
Oh, well, my friend Daniel Beals is one of the main creators of the show. He's a creator, writer, director, and he put himself, and it's keeping it small like that, and it's about when he worked in a comic shop, the funny things that happen. When I've worked in a comic shop, the funny things that happen in a comic shop. And just, there's no show really, like Big Bang Theory's there, but it hits on some of the geekdom, but some of it's a little off.
Right.
So go ahead.
So you're dealing specifically with the comic book fan of the comic book.
No, all the genre of geekdom, of nerd and geek, but it's based in a comic shop. So it's where Big Bang Theory is written by just TV comedians who kind of do the research on the fun comic, the mythos of comics, mythos of sci-fi, mythos of fantasy. We're pulling from that world. We're taking writers of these worlds. We're taking them and doing. Hey, I love Big Bang Theory, but this is going to be more focused geeks for geeks.
Right. And who's in your show?
Well, we've got Daniel Beals, the writer creator. We have Michelle Boyd. It's been on Team Unicorn, some of the shows. We have Damien Poitier, who was actually the Thanos in Avengers, the last one, and he's been in many other parts. He's got some things. We've got Amelia Yadamoto, who's got her own show going. We got Victoria Page right next to me, who's a cosplayer, who's just brilliant. And we've got some writers and directors, a lot of guest stars that I don't want to give until you watch the show.
All right, awesome. So June 18th, what is the YouTube address?
It's going to be Geek Cred series. We're probably just going to be on YouTube, but you'll be able to find it on a Geek Cred series.
Okay, awesome.
Because we're in talks of trying to find that maybe there's a channel that's talking to host us. I don't want to say names until it's collected.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hope you guys do well.
Thank you.
Geek Cred online, or Geek Cred is online now at geekcredseries.com, or you could find them on YouTube. There's links from the website to their YouTube channel. You can be sure to look them up and subscribe to their YouTube channel. They could really use your help. All right, so Steve Simon, he is the producer of a web series, but the thing about Comic-Con is there are a lot of artists there, and as this being a radio show, it's hard to highlight art, but it is a chance to find creators who have a story within them and want to be able to tell that story. And this is true in the case of Alejandro Lee. He's an artist, and he is the artist of The Ballad of Sally Sprocket and Pistol Pete. Here's that interview. I'm at Long Beach Comic Expo with Alejandro Lee. He's the creator of The Ballad of Sally Sprocket and Pistol Pete. What is the series about?
Well, it's a story about a robot named Piston Pete. He's a robotic inventor, and then one day he discovers this human girl who's near death, and he rescues her, and she goes a cyborg because that's the only way he knows how to save people. And she becomes his sidekick, who he names Sally Sprocket.
Okay. And so she becomes his. He kind of rebuilds her in a way.
Yeah. Bigger, better, stronger kind of story.
So what are some of the themes in your series?
It's a comedy action adventure, but it's themes of trust and sort of compassion and lots of coming to terms with with other people. It's just a lot of heavy themes, but there's definitely a lot of comedy and action to cover for it too.
All right, and so it exists currently in comic format as a web series, right?
Yeah, it's I started out as a web series, and then as I get to enough pages, I put it together in book form and then sell it, and then it keeps going as well from there. So you can kind of enjoy it both ways.
All right, where can we find the web series, and where can we purchase the print?
Well, if you just honestly, if you just Google my username 47ness, you can find it right away. That's 47NESS. Yeah.
And how long have you been drawing, or how long have you been putting this together, and how long have you been an artist altogether?
Well, I've been an artist since I was 3 years old. I didn't really get serious until I started college, and then the comic itself has been going on for 5 years now. Yeah.
Pretty excited about it?
Always, yeah.
And when you produce, are you producing this on your own?
Yeah, I'm the artist and the writer, so I guess I'm the creator. And then also, I get it printed like locally, so it's like small time effort.
What are some of the challenges you have in terms of producing at least the print version?
The challenges for me are making sure I keep promoting it. Definitely, I've gotten like more friends helping me out recently, and more importantly, I'm trying to get into animation. So this will be turned into an animation, like in the near future, like within the next like half year to a year.
Yeah, and so you're promoting like on Facebook and other social networks?
Yeah, I'm trying to like hit up a lot of places because for the longest time I was kind of like an introverted artist, and like kept to myself. I just wanted to just work on myself, whatever. But you realize nowadays you gotta like get out there, you gotta promote it, you gotta like remind people like what you're up to. Otherwise you get forgotten and it's kind of like sucks.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
That Alejandro Lee, met him at the Long Beach Comic Expo back in May, end of May, early June. He's an artist and writer of the Ballad of Sally Sprocket and Pistol Pete. What Alejandro really does is, his comic book series is online currently. He posts pages on his DeviantArt page, and then when he has enough pages drawn out, he then prints it into a comic book form. So you can kind of see read it up to date, or you can buy it as a comic book. If you want to learn more about Alejandro Lee and the Ballad of Sally Sprocket and Pistol Pete, as he said, Google his username, which is 4747NESS. So that's 47NESS. You'll find not only you'll find his DeviantArt page, but you'll find his Twitter and Facebook page. And there he has links and updates as to when new pages are up. All right, so moving along, we had the producer of a web series, we have an artist, and now we're going to talk to a writer. This writer is the author of Mr. Blank and Get Blank, which is part of the Fill in the Blank series. And author is Justin Robinson. And here's our interview with Justin. I'm at Long Beach Comic Expo. I'm with Justin Robinson, author of Is It Get Blank?
Yeah, that's the brand new one.
And what's the story about?
Well, basically the book is the second in the Fill in the Blank series. First one is about a guy who he works for every conspiracy called Secret Society there is, but he does all these like crappy errands someone else wants to do. And one of them, someone tries to kill him and is trying to figure out who it is.
So he works for the conspiracy, or he's...
Yeah, he's basically like the low man on the totem pole for every single one of them. So like he's the guy who's just, like he says in the very opening of the book, it's like, I can't find the Ark of the Covenant for you, but if you need it FedEx somewhere, I can do that.
Oh, perfect. Sounds really interesting. What kind of adventures is it? What kind of themes do you...
Well, it's sort of a kind of a goofy noir novel, kind of in the sort of like The Big Lebowski, but with a more self-aware protagonist. So there's sort of those types of adventures. Like the first one is solving your own murder, even though he doesn't get killed. But then the second one, he's trying to solve, basically someone has framed his girlfriend for murder, and he's trying to figure out who did that and why.
Okay, and the conspiracies you deal with, they're more political in nature, or is it more like the I guess I've seen it like the Illuminati type.
Yeah, the Illuminati are in there, the little green men are in there, there are cells in the CIA and the ONI, and there's various flavors of Satanists, and it's a mix. It's the entire conspiracy grab bag.
So what attracted you to the subject?
Well, I thought to myself, I learned that by law you're allowed to have 8 insect parts in every Reese's peanut butter cup, and I started wondering whose job it was to put them there. Yeah. So that's kind of where the novel came from originally.
Okay. And are you self-published?
No. I'm published. The two blank novels are being published by a small press called Candlemark and Gleam. They're a really, really cool boutique press out of Vermont. Okay. And they also do my other book, City of Devils.
All right. And okay, so where can we get your novel?
You can find me at CaptainSupermarket.com. My name was taken, and I'd been using that on boards because that's the Japanese title for Army of Darkness. So I was using that as an alias. I was like, that wasn't taken. You can find me there, or you can find me on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Goodreads. You can find me just about anywhere.
Okay, great. Awesome. That was Justin Robinson. He is the creator of the series Fill in the Blank He has 2 books out, Mr. Blank and Get Blank. He has a bunch of other books out, but that's the one we're talking about. You can get both Mr. Blank and Get Blank on Amazon for the great price of $4.99 per book for the Kindle, or you can buy it in paperback on Amazon or at your local bookstore. If you want more information about Justin Robinson, please visit his website at captainsupermarket.com. All right, we got a little more Long Beach Comic Con news.